Welcome, welcome, boys and girls. I changed the picture and I unmuted the microphones this time. I'm pretty impressed with myself.
Hey, you're getting to be a regular pro at this. Pretty soon we're going to have to pay you.
That would be amazing, actually.
Wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
If only I could afford to have you on my payroll, I would roll that pay right to you. Hi,
Wow.
My name is the Ghostkeeper Vince, and you're listening and watching the Castle of Spirits True Ghost Stories podcast.
And I'm the Ghostkeeper Jane.
And when I say watching, if you're listening out there on podcast land, that's because we broadcast this show every Saturday night live, Saturday Fright Live, actually, on our YouTube channel, YouTube at Castle of Spirits. And you're welcome to come join us and see how the show is made. Check out our awesome costumes that we wear.
Speaking of costumes, Amy Moonsong in chat just asked where your wig is.
I've decided long ago,
like 10 minutes,
to embrace the, I don't know, Mother Nature's insistence.
Embrace the glare.
You know, it was something I got over probably about 15, 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And I'm good with it now.
Yeah.
I'm good with it. So.
Hey, speaking of where they can find us online and social media, did you know, Vince? Did you know
No.
that we are now on TikTok? What?
Oh,
Shoot. So you can find us on TikTok. It might change. I don't know. I can't change it for 7 days. I'm new to TikTok, but you can find us at the dot. Don't listen to him. Hush.
Yes, dear.
At the dot Ghostkeepers. I didn't know that when I put a space in my nickname that was going to create a dot in the at. So otherwise I wouldn't have done that. And it said you can change it. It didn't tell me it would be 7 days. So we might change it to Castle of Spirits. But anyway, go follow us there. And we will see you TikToking around.
Wow.
Whatever. Oh, I'm so old.
Yeah, we sold out and are doing the TikTok thing so that we can, maybe hopefully our goal is to be able to bring you more and more content because we have almost 5,000 stories on the Castle of Spirits website, true ghost stories, true paranormal stories that we want to share with you.
And we have a really cool idea that is the reason we signed up for TikTok, in fact, because we came up with this idea. And I said, Vince, I think that's better suited for TikTok. So
this, what you're looking at, my movie star looks.
Yeah, movie star looks. Like, what's his name?
Danny DeVito.
Well, I was going to go more for like, I just totally went brain dead. Never mind.
Peter Lorre.
Mm-mm.
Peter Boyle.
Mm-mm. More like Michael J. Pollard.
Oh.
Maybe Clint Howard.
Jesus Christ. Clint Howard.
All right. Hey, Vince, what are we talking about today?
Ron Howard would have been an insult than even Clint Howard.
Oh.
Anyway, he's the one with the real character, actually.
Yeah, Clint's my favorite.
The reason the stories that we're telling tonight have everything to do with the fact that we finally got around to starting to watch our Halloween movies, our fall movies.
Yeah, it only took us a minute.
Yeah. This year is kind of, the year's just sneaking up on us.
It really is.
Every day there's a new adventure.
Wasn't it just March?
It was. And anyway.
Sandra says, Yulbrenner.
Hey, thank you. That's a compliment. He was a very sexy man. Anyway, yeah, so one of the movies that we love to watch, one of the first movies we love to watch, is a little 1988 movie called The Lady in White.
That's right.
Starring
Lucas Haas.
Lucas Haas as the titular Lady in White. No.
No.
His real life birth mother is in that movie playing
one scene. Yeah.
The Lady in White.
She's playing the corpse. She's not playing the Lady in White.
Oh yeah, you're right. No, I'm confused. I always
don't listen to him.
That movie puts me to sleep every time. So, but there's
you did not fall asleep.
Half the cast of The Godfather is in the movie.
That's not true either.
Trying to portray themselves as like I don't know, like Norman Rockwell types.
Kind of, yeah.
But it's an interesting movie, and I was, of course, as you do, you're watching the movie if you have like any kind of neurodivergence, and you want to read about the movie, you want to pause the movie and say, I want to know all about this movie as I'm watching it.
And it takes you 3 hours to watch an hour and 20-minute movie.
Oh yeah,
That's how we roll at this house.
That's why we have a very short window to watch these movies. I found out in the trivia for that movie that Rochester, New York native Frank LaLoggia, who was the director and writer of this movie,
And the eyeballs at the very beginning.
yes, he based the film on a popular and long-standing urban legend known as the White Lady.
Ooh.
Legend has it that the White Lady had a daughter who disappeared at the hands of a predatory young suitor. Kind of similar to the storyline.
Kind of, but I would say the
More of like an old
storyline is
suitor.
a little darker
Yeah,
than real life.
And so the White Lady roams the lakefront to this very day, searching for her missing daughter. The supposed residence of the White Lady is actually the base of a demolished hotel that was built in the 1800s.
Shut your face.
Known as the White Lady's Castle. Sounds tasty. It reminds me of White Castle hamburgers.
This is in New York?
Rochester, New York. It has become a popular tourist attraction and a party site for teenagers. So if if you live in Rochester and your kid's not home, they're probably there conjuring the White Lady. The White Lady's Castle is a nickname ruins of an old Twin Lakes pavilion and Rochester candlelight ghost walks in Durand Eastman Park, Monroe County, New York. And so that got us both thinking. We started talking about why is it that there are so many, because I Google searched the White Lady and I found a White Lady in England,
Japan.
White Lady myth or White Lady legends, not actual white ladies, White Lady ghosts, and I wondered what's up with that. So I even went to the Castle of Spirits website and I searched White Lady, and there are all kinds of stories on our very own website that I didn't realize were there. And it just seems like a really cool topic.
Yeah, you can search White Lady or Lady in White. Lady in White, actually, or Woman in White, any combination of those. And you'll find a lot, actually. But I do think it's interesting, and we can kind of talk about it as the night goes on. You know, like you said, why is it always a lady in white? And, you know, the associations with white, you know, being kind of,
well, ghostly, glowing.
but also like purity or like a bride, innocence, things like that. Like, technically you could say like La Llorona is one, a white lady, but she's not really described as wearing white, I don't think.
No, I don't think so.
And that's because she's not virtuous, right? She murdered her children.
Oh.
So I think, so there's a whole thing. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't think I remember that she murdered her children. I thought that
she drowned them in the water because her lover didn't want to be with her because she had kids. And now she wanders like bodies of water, riversides, things like that, crying, looking for her children, regretful over what she did. Come on, we did an episode.
I know, but I mean, in a really dark and serious statement that I must make here, that totally reminds me of the story. Was it Susan Smith?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't realize. So she's like a living, like when she dies, she's going to be La Llorona for the American version, the crying lady.
Maybe.
Wow. Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, if she truly is regretful.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't presume to pass judgment or anything like that.
My brother,
I do pass judgment, but I don't presume to do anything else.
That's right. And on to another topic. My brother in Chad, he and his family spent almost 2 years, I think, in Japan. And he said that in Japan, there's a story of a lady in red. Curtis.
You're thinking about the song.
Oh, stop it. He doesn't know that song. He's too young. I'm going to need all the details on that. So, let's get it. Get me them deets, son.
Yeah. So I was perusing through the Castle of Spirits website as we were doing our kind of like a little bit of research for the show, and I came across a couple of cool stories that I thought I might share.
I would love it.
Do you want me to do that now?
I would love nothing more.
Well, I'll tell you what. I would love several things more, but I'll settle for this. This was something I found on the Castle of Spirits site. It was submitted by Andy in New South Wales, Australia. And more than a personal experience, this is kind of like a really good summary of the white lady in white type occurrences that also sort of blend together with vanishing hitchhikers. Because as you know, you have people like the Resurrection Mary, who is sort of a figure of a lady in white that has been seen in the Chicagoland area for a long, long time.
Resurrection Mary has forever been my favorite ghost.
Yeah. I have a dream of going out there and looking for her and finding her.
Yeah, if I saw Resurrection Mary, I'd be like, well, nothing else in that bucket. Life has been accomplished.
You won at life.
I did.
So Andy writes, a young man had just left a party given by some of his friends. As he started down the road, it was about 12:30 at midnight and pouring down rain. He had only driven about 2 miles when he saw this faint figure walking on the side of the road. As he got closer, he realized it was a young lady, for she was wearing a long white dress. He pulled over and asked her if she'd like a ride. He figured she'd come from the party. She said she would and hopped into the front seat. He noticed that she was shivering from the rain, so he took off his jacket and offered it to her. She gladly accepted and put the jacket on. They talked about where they were from, and other basic chit-chat. The young man was overwhelmed by how beautiful she was. When he pulled up to her house, he thought about asking her out, but when he went around to the passenger side, the door was open and she was gone. He seemed confused, but figured she had just gotten nervous and run into her house. Since it was late, he came back the following day, after he realized that the girl had left in such a rush that she forgot to leave him his jacket. He remembered the directions to her house, and he went there since he didn't have a phone number to call back in those old days. He knocked on the door. I think you know where this is going, and a woman answered.
I do.
The young man told her he was there to pick up his jacket from who he assumed was her daughter. The woman looked at him strangely and then began to smile. She told him that her daughter had died in a car accident 10 years ago. The young man was horrified and did not believe her. The woman asked him to follow her inside. While they walked, the woman told him that this was not the first time this had happened, and for him not to be upset. The woman stopped at what looked to be a family cemetery and pointed to the far right. The young man walked over, and there, lying on a headstone, was his jacket. I presume that she took him out back into the cemetery in the backyard. In other versions, in all the stories of vanishing hitchhiker stories, the woman is beautiful and dressed in the most seductive outfit you could ever imagine. And I can imagine quite a bit. The young man was walking home drunk from a bar one night. This is another story. He was hitchhiking along a country road, and luckily a lady drove by and stopped and offered him a ride home. They spoke, and the woman told him her name. Being so drunk, the woman took him back to the house where she took full advantage of him. Use your imagination on that one. It literally says that here. The man woke up the next morning being shaken awake by the police. The police pulled him up and asked him what the hell he was doing. He looked around and noticed he'd been sleeping naked on top of a grave. He was horrified to see the name on the grave was that of the woman who had picked him up the night before. Now, was she virtuous? We don't know. In the afterlife, they have different definitions of that word. Well, he certainly wasn't. The girl disappears out of the car suddenly when passing a graveyard. That's another one of these
Tropes.
tropes. One of the things that frequently happens. The driver notices in the graveyard his jacket that he's lent her draped over her gravestone. Sometimes he sees a photo at the parents' home of the same dress that she was wearing the night he picked her up. This other story happened somewhere in the 60s. One day, a young couple were on their way to the girl's parents' house to tell them that they'd become engaged. The woman was fast asleep when the man lost control of the vehicle and both were killed. Her name was Maria Rue. A little while later, a guy was riding along and saw a lady standing on the side of the road. He asked her whether she wanted a lift, but she didn't answer. She just climbed into the back seat of his car. They kept on talking, and he kept telling her how dangerous it was for a woman to hitchhike at night, but she never said a word. While he was driving along, he looked back and saw that she had disappeared. He stopped the car and searched everywhere, but he could not find her. He then drove to the police station to report her missing, never realizing that she could have been a ghost. He thought that she might have fallen out of the vehicle somewhere and was lying on the side of the road injured. The police officer had a lack of patience for this guy, thinking his story was a cover-up for hurting or killing the girl. So after a lot of begging, the police officer eventually drove behind the guy to the spot where the girl went missing. As they were driving along, the police officer noticed that the guy's back door was opening and closing by itself. They both realized that it was Ghost and hauled ass out of there as fast as they could. This goes on for another day and a half, but I think you get the message. This was a sort of an amalgam of a bunch of different stories of these vanishing hitchhikers, ladies in distress on the side of the road, many of them dressed in a gown or dressed in a pretty white dress, and that's a very common story.
Yeah. I just wanted to comment on, the first one sounds, there's a story in Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark that's very, very similar.
Yeah.
But then the second one, where he wakes up naked on the grave, dude, it just reminds me of that scene in Phantasm.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were going to say Porky's, but that was a shower wall. It wasn't
Vince,
it wasn't a grave.
We don't need to talk about that.
Did you know that the guy who directed Porky's also directed
A Christmas Story?
A Christmas Story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Bob Clark.
Okay, so my brother and my sister-in-law sent me, it's a Wikipedia article, so I'm not going to go and read all of it, but I will include it in the show notes. So my brother mentioned in chat that in Japan they have the red lady, or he also called her, I saw it here, the slit-mouthed woman.
Ooh.
I don't like that. That
I
needs
like
to
that.
stop.
That's creepy.
And she is a malicious spirit, and she partially covers her face with a mask or other item. Oh yeah, I think I talked about this briefly. We did a story about I can't remember what our episode was about, but I talked about yokai, which is like the Japanese ghosts where their heads can like come off and float away and they can go up to second stories. And I think I briefly touched on this one in that episode. So I'll include the link in the show notes, and then I'm going to read it tomorrow. You guys should read it too. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Oh, I thought you were going to read it right now.
No, I just said I'm not going to read a Wikipedia article.
Oh.
Anyway.
I just did. I'm just kidding.
No.
That wasn't a Wikipedia article.
No. But yeah.
So now the one thing is, though, that we're missing a very important bridge here. Mm-hmm. And that bridge is the bridge between the Vanishing Hitchhiker legends and the Lady in White legends.
Yeah.
They're kind of connected.
They're in the same Venn diagram.
But they need to be sort of like tied together. Can you do that for us?
Well, I would say that the tie is whether or not she gets in the car, because otherwise you've got vanishing hitchhikers, you've got lady in white, but not all vanishing hitchhikers are a lady in white, and not all lady in white are vanishing hitchhikers.
Do you have something to read to us, to share with us of some research that you did that might be
I
able to
do.
tie all this together with a neat little bow?
I don't know if it ties everything together, but
Ah,
I do have a little story for you. And this story was actually inspired by something, Vince. See if you can guess what it is.
okay.
But what I'm going to tell you about right now is the legend of the Lady in White in Buckhorn slash Wapsanonock, Pennsylvania. They also
Wapsanonock?
just call it Wapsie. So this is a classic vanishing hitchhiker slash deceased young lovers ghost story. So the reason I chose this story was because this location is located 2 or 3 miles from our new favorite town that holds 2 of our favorite listeners who we don't know by name. But this little town is called Millheim, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, let me tell you something.
Shout out to our Millheim, Pennsylvania fans.
We get listeners from Las Vegas, Los Angeles, Chicago,
Sweden.
We have listeners all over the world, but every week without fail, on every episode, there are 2 people, 2 listens in Millheim, Pennsylvania.
That's right.
And every time I see a small town in Pennsylvania, I always look it up because I have a fascination with Pennsylvania.
Yeah. We've considered moving there a few times.
Yeah, mainly because I want to live by the Night of the Living Dead cemetery.
It's true. That's actually his main reasoning.
Evans City. And I was like, I wonder if this place is, what's the Zillow rates there? And I saw that they had a state park or something, like campgrounds there. And I thought maybe people are listening to our shows
like while they're camping they're just driving through. Nope, it's every single episode. So Millheim,
shout out to Millheim, Pennsylvania.
Keep being you, boo.
You know who you are. We have no idea.
We don't know who you are.
Hopefully you know each other. I mean, wouldn't it be cool if you didn't and then you just sort of met? So, maybe you could start. Hey, if you guys just start building in Millheim, maybe we'll come and do a special broadcast from there someday.
Oh yeah, Jeff says Eastern State Pen is in Philly. That's in Pennsylvania too. That's a good point.
I think I like Pennsylvania so much because it rhymes with Transylvania, but that could be something completely different. Is Transylvania around here? Oh,
okay.
No.
So, the Lady in White from Buckhorn, Wapsie. I'm just going to say Wapsie. I understand that Wapsanonock is, actually I can say that pretty good. I just didn't want to butcher it, but I just rolled off my tongue just there.
Oh, that sounds good.
Anyway, there's a few different versions of this story. And honestly, it kind of sounds like a local legend type thing. There's no real documentation that pinpoints who this could have been, what the actual occurrence could have been. And the story is supposed to have taken place anywhere between like 1830 and like 1918, which is very specific, but I'll tell you why in a minute. So in one story, she and her new husband were leaving the Wapsanonock Hotel, it was up on this mountaintop, and it was apparently just really beautiful and just a really cool place, and it burned down in a fire. There was a fire on the top of this mountain and it burned down. I can't remember when, the 1930s, I think. There's actually a video in the show notes from a YouTuber who goes by the name of Scott's Odyssey. And he actually takes you up there and you can see the foundations of this hotel and the location. It's really cool. There's like a Lover's Lane lookout that really reminds me of Centralia, which is also in Pennsylvania.
I don't know why we're not living there right now.
Right? Why don't we live in
Anywhere
Pennsylvania
in Pennsylvania
right now? And 3 Mile Island. Thanks, Mom. Yeah, that too.
All right, one
Okay.
ding against it. Okay, just one. But Pittsburgh is far away from 3 Mile Island, so
Anyway, so so the one story is she and her new husband were leaving the hotel to go home after their honeymoon, and the road that went up to the hotel was a super narrow 1 lane road, and they didn't have cars at this point, or if they did, they were very rare. So it was horse-drawn carriages. Well, the foliage and everything was really close, and apparently it would really the road was so treacherous and long that it would damage the horses. Like the horses would be injured from going up and down this road. Most people took the train, apparently. So they're going down the road in their horse-drawn carriage, and they hit an area of the road, which, what do you think it's called? You know, when there's all those hairpin turns where people die, they give them like crazy nicknames.
like Dead Man's Curve or something
Right,
like
something like that.
that. Dead Horse Junction.
That sounds pretty good considering what I said about, you know, it injuring horses.
Yeah.
It was called the Devil's Elbow.
Oh, I
Right?
like that. I like that.
Yeah. So they hit the Devil's Elbow, and the horse is injured, or the driver loses control, the carriage comes unattached, whatever. There's a crash, and she and her recent newlywed husband are both killed. Another version is there was something about the Civil War. I'm not really clear on this one. So people traveling from the South are apparently run off the road. The new bride is pulled out of the carriage and hanged while the groom is shot. I know this got real grim. Sorry about that. Yeah. Content warning. And now she roams, you know, searching for him. And then another story is that I assume it's going to be the same woman that she is seen. She's silent, wearing white, and she's picked up on the side of the road, like in all the standard stories, at the base of the mountain. And she disappears from the vehicle before the next stop. So it's not even at the stop where she disappears. She disappears in the middle of the journey. Oh, you looked like you were going to say something. Oh yeah, this is the one. So that one, the story about the hitchhiker, this is the one on Wapsapanak Mountain, or at the base of it. And the other one is a different story, but at some point in the history, the two stories merged. So people aren't sure, is it two different stories? Is it the same ghost? Is it just an expansion of the legend? Whatever. So like I said, there's not really a general consensus about when this happened, but there is a theory that she shows up every 20 years. With the first notable time that she appeared being in 1938, which is why I said, 1918 was one of the years it was supposed to have happened, very specific. It's 20 years before. So, but this 1938 occurrence was so big that like the local newspapers were covering it. There were like headlines, and apparently like hundreds of school children claimed to have seen her. There were just tons of people in the town who swore that they saw her over something like a 2-week period. And let's see, hang on. Yeah, so people still say that they see her to this day, and it seems like about every 20 years. There's just kind of another, like a hot spot of sightings, I guess. There's more sightings than normal about every 20 years.
A cluster of sightings.
That's right.
Yeah, I like that word.
So let me see. Sorry, I've got a lot of notes on here that aren't really, they're just like reminders. So the old Wapsananak Hotel the foundation is still there if you know where to go. and it's, you know, just a stacked stone foundation. So it's very crumbling, but it's pretty obvious once you find it. There's even like the wall of the foundation and then a depression on the other side where like the basement was. So you should check out that video. It's really interesting, even just for if you just want to see the ruins where the hotel was. And then there's a story that some guys, I can't remember if they picked her up and they delivered her to a house up at the top of this mountain somewhere near the old hotel foundation, or if they just found the house. But there's something about a house that is supposedly up there, and they found the house, and then they tried to go back later and find it again to show people, see, there's this house here that nobody knew was there, and they couldn't find the house. And they've never seen it again. So that's creepy. People say they believe that it's her house. And she's usually seen when she's walking down the road late at night. She's usually seen either holding a lantern or a candle or a cigarette even. Was that?
I know, right?
The old smokers coming back out.
Yeah, we were just talking about that today, saying I don't miss it anymore. It's been about 10 years, and
Oh, it's been it's been longer than that.
been longer than that.
Yeah.
The minute she mentioned or a cigarette, I'm like, forget the lantern or the candle.
Some people would say that she would even disappear while they were like looking at her in the rearview mirror. So they're driving, you know, they've picked her up. They glance in the rearview mirror, she's there. Look away, glance back, she's gone.
I love it.
And the one thing that I thought was interesting about this story is it's a little bit different from most of the other Lady in White stories you hear, in that she's carrying some kind of a light source, a lantern, a cigarette, a candle, whatever. You don't usually hear that about these. Like Resurrection Mary, she's her own light source, except her face, which is just a big black hole.
Yeah, I mean, is that the actual accepted physical description of her?
No.
I don't
I'm
think so.
just
That
going
was-
by that Unsolved Mysteries episode, which is one of the most terrifying things I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, we talked about that once.
Yeah.
About when we were talking about vanishing hitchhikers, and yeah, that was frightening.
So just to kind of go past like what's story and what is actually documented, I have a couple of little points here. So there is documented media coverage from the 1938 sightings. There are the newspaper, the newspapers that were printed at the time with quotes and everything. I guess there's even a PBS production about it. Some kind of, I don't know if it's a short or a whole episode or what, but yeah, PBS even talked about this 1938 occurrence when hundreds of people claim to have seen her. Wow. There are physical artifacts. So there's the ruins, like I talked about, the foundation of the hotel. When you said the Lady in White's castle, or the castle of the Lady in White, I swear it's not in my notes here, but I swear in my research, I saw that exact same phrase. There was a 4-story watchtower built up there near the hotel, and I'm pretty sure that's what they were referring to. So yeah, that's why I was like, what? There is absence in the historical record for any kind of single verifiable accident or deaths that can be connected to this. So that doesn't mean it didn't happen. It just means there isn't anything that anyone can point to and definitively say, this is it.
Right.
And
that seems to be the case with a lot of legends and things like that. They all seem to stem from a circumstance, but it's not exactly something that is so strange that it couldn't happen many times in different places.
Yeah, and that it hasn't.
But it's what I think it's really interesting that there are so many of these legends in different parts of the world.
Yeah, there's
that
the
sort of
lady in white seems to almost be ubiquitous when you start talking about hauntings.
yeah, and these stories had their origin in the time before even telephones, when people couldn't, maybe travelers going to these distant lands heard these stories
Yeah.
and brought them back. But I don't know that necessarily meant, it's just kind of like it's kind of like the invention of fire. It wasn't just one person. It was different people.
A thing that happened.
A thing that happened,
Yeah.
at the same time, all throughout the globe in different locations.
So I have just a couple other things to read. These are just like little anecdotes about, people who have experienced this. So there are people who are like local ghost investigators or students who have visited the Buckhorn Wapsie roads, and they describe it as having abandoned buildings surrounded by dense fog and just like a super spooky atmosphere. And I tell you, in that video, I mean, he's not going for atmosphere. It's just kind of like this cute guy who's like excited to teach you about something you've never heard about, and he happens to be up here and it's in the middle of the day, but it's a creepy place. It's really a creepy location. So picturing it in a dense fog is just really terrifying. And then, of course, they see the white-gowned woman near Devil's Elbow. And let's see, I talked about the 1938. And multiple drivers describe stopping to offer a ride. The passenger is described as a beautiful, silent woman, sometimes holding a lantern or a cigarette, and she disappears from the vehicle before the climb past Devil's Elbow. Some people say she has no reflection in the rearview mirror.
A vampire, perhaps.
Right, maybe. We don't know. Some people have said that they have chased her, that they have seen her and chased her, and all I saw was chased. I don't know if they're talking on foot or in a car, but she would run through like wooded areas and fields, and they could not keep up with her, and then she would just disappear. They're calling them too fast to catch stories, which is just creepy. If you're a ghost and you're a creepy ghost, you need to move slowly. That is your lot in life. Don't go moving fast. That's sickening.
I don't think I've ever heard of like a fast moving, running, racing ghost.
Gross, right?
That is kind of terrifying.
You need him to be slow, like Michael Myers, just slow. If he gets you, it's because you're dumb.
Like George Romero's Zombies. Again, with the Pennsylvania reference there.
Exactly. Let me see if this is, that's all the same thing. So, yeah.
So one thing sticks out among all things that you just said.
Mm-hmm.
Devil's Elbow.
Devil's Elbow.
Now we've got a poll right now in the chat room.
Oh, you want to call this one Devil's Elbow?
For the YouTube video that we're having right now, because we're trying to come up with a good name for this episode. We had several ideas. Maybe you might want to mention where we're at in that.
Yeah, let's
poll.
see.
But I'm thinking that the Devil's Elbow might be a good one. Of course, it doesn't exactly scream white lady.
Yeah, but that's okay. We're going for clickbait. So the one that has 0 votes, I liked it. Whatever. It's Haunting at the Hairpin. You know, the double entendre, hairpin and the hairpin road. Anyway. Then second at 20% is Ghoul in a Gown. I like that one. Whatever.
That was one of my suggestions.
Mm-hmm. And then tied at 40%, we have She Wears White at Night and White Dress, Dark Fate. But I'm kind of feeling like, guys, now maybe we should go with Devil's Elbow.
White Dress, Dark Fate is actually my choice. I voted for that one.
Yeah.
And where are we at? That's the winner right now so far?
No. That one is tied at 40% with She Wears White at Night. So, guys, get in there and vote.
Yeah, you'll have.
Or else we'll be forced to choose, and you won't like it.
Yeah. The Devil's Elbow.
I like it. Yeah, it is like Silent Hill, Sandra. And interesting that you say that because Silent Hill was actually based loosely, the town was based on Centralia, Pennsylvania.
Now, what's the deal again in Centralia? It's
It was a
town that's
mining town,
yeah
and somehow a fire started. It was a
yeah.
coal mining town. Somehow a fire started in the coal mine. And I mean, once that happens, that's about it. And it's still burning to this day. They could never put it out. And the town basically, it got too hot in places, it got noxious with toxic fumes in other places, the ground started caving in other places, and they eventually just had to abandon the town. And
We saw a documentary about it.
it wasn't a documentary, I think it was on YouTube. Yeah, I think
Okay,
there's like a whole Centralia exploration, which is really, really cool.
but they interviewed like one of like two residents that are still living in
Yeah,
there.
there's not many people still living. There's really not much of anything besides the roads there anymore. Couple couple foundations, things like that. They've pretty much raised most of the houses to try and prevent people from
Yeah,
going there and wanting to explore and stuff.
it's
But
fascinating.
you have to be careful because the ground beneath you could cave in at any moment. Once all the coal is burned. One of the cool things that they showed in that documentary that we watched, they were up on the hillside, remember, and it was winter, and they saw this area where there was steam coming up, and they went and looked, and there was like this hot water
Yeah.
pouring out of the mountain. So anyway, go check that out.
Now I could swear to gosh that we saw a Centralia documentary. But no, Centralia documentary, full documentary, an hour and 10 minutes on YouTube.
Yeah, that's what we watched.
Yeah, I thought there was a like a legit. I mean, it's not like anything in YouTube is not legitimate,
We,
but
we understand what you mean.
like I thought it was like an actual, produced and distributed type thing.
Well, we will put a link also in the show notes.
Oh, these
that.
show notes are going to be crazy busy.
They're going to be full of links.
So we have to come up with a really good title for this episode.
Yeah, I think it's
you
probably
guys
Devil's
voted?
Elbow.
And everybody in the chat watching live, have you voted? If they want Devil's Elbow, what do they say? Did they vote for nothing?
I don't know, but Haunting at the Hairpin got a vote. That's right.
Oh, lame.
And She Wears White at Night and White Dress are now tied at 36. But anyway, Vince, how about you read us another story?
I actually have another story
bet
that
you
is
do.
similar, and actually it is an actual story that somebody submitted, and not kind of an essay about all the different things that happen to people when they encounter this creature. No, she's not a creature.
She's a specter. She is a wraith.
And a lovely one at that.
Mm-hmm.
This story comes from Irene in Texas, USA, submitted in October of 2002. This is called Roadside Assistance. Before I begin, I must tell you that this was never meant to be a legend or a ghost story, so please excuse my lack of creativity on the title. It was something that really happened to my family when I was little. I was about 7 or 8 years old, and my family and I were on our way home from our cousin's wedding at a ranch in San Isidro, Mexico. And as was accustomed, the celebration went on till the early morning hours. At around midnight or almost 1 a.m., we packed ourselves up in the station wagon and began our trip to Piedras Negras to stay with my aunt. As I said, the wedding was at a ranch, so the road was either dirt or single-laned pavement with no lamp posts and no scenery but a bunch of grass and bushes. The only light you had was from your headlights. We were driving along and came up to a curve in the road, and my parents noticed a lady climbing up the side. She looked like she was being chased by the way she was frantically waving her arms, and she seemed to be mouthing for help. She was wearing a white dress and had long, graying, braided hair. When she reached the roadside, she started waving at my dad to stop. My mother started feeling something was wrong and told my dad not to stop. She began to pray for fear of danger, but by that time, he was already a bit closer to the lady, and just as my mom yelled at him, begging him to keep going, he sped up, only giving her a chance to bang on the hood of the station wagon on my mom's side. It happened so fast that by the time my mom looked back, the lady was gone. We had passed her up and kept going on to the next town, but just as we got there, the hood caught fire. The villagers helped my dad put out the fire, but we had to wait until morning to call my aunt to pick us up. A year later, my dad was talking to some cousins about strange things that have happened in the past, and he brought up the woman on the side of the road. My cousin got this chilling look in his eyes and asked where exactly she had been seen. My father told him, and my cousin said, "Uncle, from what you've told me about where you were and what time it was, you're lucky you didn't stop. That woman has been dead for years. She had a jealous husband that would always accuse her of cheating. One night, she got home late from a church meeting, and he attacked her, claiming that she'd been with another man. He took an axe and started hacking at her. She tried getting away, but before she cleared the bushes to climb easily to the road for help, he reached out, grabbed her hair, and pulled her back, where he killed her. They say she comes out at night, waving people down to help her. She even gets in the car sometimes if you stop. They've had people actually go crazy from looking at her, or they crash and die. You're lucky she only got to touch your hood, but then that's the side the fire started on, wasn't it?" I got so many chills from hearing that and wondering what could have happened. We never did go back to that ranch, much less at night. And that was a story called Roadside Assistance, submitted by Irene in Texas in October of 2002. Enough to chill you to the bone.
That's seriously the scariest woman in white story I've ever heard. Like, hands down. I've never heard of one who, like, does you harm or makes you go crazy, or that's terrifying. And the vision of her, like, scrambling up a hill. Ugh, that's awful.
I gotta
That's
say,
such a good story.
I gotta
Very
say, I
awful.
think I would have stopped.
You know,
To my detriment, I probably would have stopped. I don't think I could live with myself, because if they hadn't heard that story later on from the cousin with all the creepy stories, I would have been thinking, oh my God, I left this lady on the side of the road and God knows what happened to her.
yeah. And yeah, Sandra said in chat, it's making me kind of sad. That was a really sad story. No wonder she's so pissed off. For real.
Next time, guys, stop for the ghost. There's
except it says she drives you crazy and
well, I mean, life
or
drives
makes
you
you
crazy, you know.
crash and die.
Yeah. But what better way to die
It's
than
kinda
than in the service of saving possibly a soul? You know, some lost soul on the side of the road that needs assistance. Come on, man. You got one life.
She doesn't
Give
sound
it up.
very lost if multiple people have died.
Well, I mean, she could be bad too.
She
And if
could
you're-
be. But you get to see a really cool ghost before you go.
Hey, what better way to go?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I dream about wouldn't it be cool to look up in the night sky and see some big giant meteor hurtling towards the earth, and you're thinking, this is it. What a time to be alive. At least I didn't die of the Spanish flu or something like that.
Oh, see, Amy Moonsong just asked a good question.
Yeah, what'd you say?
She said, I wonder if she made the car start on fire or if she was warning them that it was going to happen. That is an interesting point, Amy. I do love a prophetic ghost.
I love all kinds of ghosts.
I do too, actually. You know what? Speaking of all kinds of ghosts,
Yeah.
if you want, I have another Lady in White story.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
I thought we were all out.
Oh, you thought wrong.
No, there's no shortage of these stories, guys.
This story is on the Castle of Spirits website, and it's called Floating Lady. And it was submitted by Tina in Kentucky, USA, April of 1998. I live in Hinesville, Georgia with my dad lived in Hinesville, Georgia with my dad for 9 months before my folks divorced in 1991. He and Mom were separated in August of 90, and I had wanted to live with him so I could finish up the school year. Being a military brat, you kind of are used to moving to different states and being the new kid in town. Well, it was said that the area where my house was built was on an old Indian burial ground. My friends used to tell me stories of hauntings all over Hinesville. I love ghost stories, and I love to be scared, and I've had many experiences with ghosts and hauntings. But the scariest one is the one I'm going to relate to you now. It was June of 1991. My younger sister and I, she was 14 and I was 15, and my friend Chuck were sitting in the enclosed portion of the back porch of my house. My father was asleep in the living room. It was getting to be dark, and we were listening to music and talking. Then we decided to talk about ghost stories or real experiences that had happened to us. My cat, BB, had been sitting outside with us when all of a sudden he got really spooked. It's said that animals are really sensitive to spirits, and boy, did that cat boogie through a hole in the screen window. I freaked out and told Chuck and my sister to go find my cat. I get feelings, too, of when something is not right, and they know not to dismiss my feelings, so they went around to the front of my house while I sat in the porch crying. Over in my neighbor's yard are some really large trees. I had happened to look up into the trees. Something made me look, and I saw a beautiful woman. She was wearing a beautiful, flowing white gown and had long black hair and the palest skin you've ever seen. She seemed to be shining. She was gliding in the treetops. No walking movements or anything. She looked so real. The scariest part was that she had no eyes. And she looked right at me. I started screaming bloody murder, and Chuck and my sister came running to the back of the house. They got my cat, who ran back into the house and hid under my bed, and tried to calm me down. I was hysterical. My dad believed me when I finally told him, as did my mom. 6 months later, I received a phone call from a friend of mine on Christmas Eve night. I was living in Savannah, Georgia, with my mom at this time. One of my best friends from Hinesville had been in a car accident on the 20th of December and had passed away Christmas Eve morning. I've always believed that the lady in white was a warning to me that someone close was going to die. To this day, I can still see her in my mind, gliding through the trees and looking so beautiful. I also drew her from memory into my sketchbook, and my friends that have seen the drawing think she is just as beautiful as I had described her. So thank you again to Tina in Kentucky, USA for submitting Floating Lady in April of 1998. That is a solid 27 years ago. Damn near 28.
How is that possible, first of all?
I know, but
Don't answer everybody under 30.
I know that it's not like the traditional lady in white, walking down the side of the road getting picked up, but I could not resist that imagery of the woman in white, especially with no eyes. It reminded me so much of Resurrection Mary with, just big black holes for eyes. And she is floating through the treetops. Like, she's not floating through the forest.
Yeah.
She's up on the top of the trees. And that was so creepy. You know, add
Yeah.
that to my list of ghosts that I want to see. I want to see a lady in white floating through the treetops.
Are treetops in the back?
Any. Sure.
I don't know. I don't know if I'd dare to go back out into the backyard. Our dog Freya, every dog we've ever had is afraid of our backyard.
Afraid of the dark.
And sometimes I think it's our own projection. You know, they can pick up on our fears and things like that. And, you know, we had an instance right after we moved into this house
Where
a long
they
time
attacked
ago
raccoons.
where there were raccoons. We discovered, oh my God, there were lots of raccoons in our neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since then, I've been on, you know, kind of like alert every time we go out. But, you know, so maybe that's it. Or maybe they can smell the raccoons. Raccoons,
Maybe she knows that there's a lady in white getting ready to walk through our treetops.
That would be better.
Let's bring it back around.
Raccoons don't play. But maybe the lady in white might.
Maybe. And Amy came up with another good idea. She said maybe people could be embellishing the story and making her be bad. The one that you read about that was banging on the car and made it start on fire. And that's an interesting thought too, because that happens, right? Something we don't understand, something that scares us. If we don't understand it and it scares us, it must be automatically dangerous and scary.
Human beings fear what they do not understand.
Right.
Regardless of whether it's good or bad.
Right.
You don't understand it. You want to throw a rock at it like an ape man.
But if you don't understand it, then you don't know if it's dangerous or not. And it's a survival instinct to be cautious. You know, this is a scary thing. And I mean, when we're talking about a ghost or something like that, like, it's fine. I mean, please exercise a little bit more humanity in, you know, the real world. But when it comes to a ghost, I can understand being like, that was terrifying. It must have bad intentions. And so maybe that's what was happening with her there. But yeah, I liked that story that you read.
I like the story that you read.
Thank you.
And I think you read quite well.
Thank you. I think you do too.
Well, come on, I'm not that good.
That's right, you're not.
How good am I again?
No.
Oh.
So yeah, hopefully our friends in Millheim, Pennsylvania are excited that we included them in tonight's episode. I know that I was excited to be able to include them. We've been talking about them for a while. Every time a new episode drops, we're like, there's Millheim, right on time. And so when we decided to do this topic, I thought, well, I'm going to look and see if there's a lady in white anywhere nearby. And apparently she's only a couple miles away. Oh, there is just another little Millheim tidbit. There is a haunting or something creepy in the cemetery that's located in Millheim, and it's called the Bleeding Gravestone.
I was going to say, I remember looking that up and mentioning it to you sometime back, but did you do any research on that at all?
I read about it a little bit today, so I'm just going off the top of my head.
Okay.
There's a gravestone in the cemetery that I think the guy is supposed to have been a murderer. And shortly after he was buried, red stains started showing up on the stone. And they would clean it and they would come back. And the stone has been replaced at least once, but it sounded like a couple of times. And the stains keep coming back. So finally, they put like a metal plate or something over where the stains show up.
Yeah.
But to this day, I guess you can peek around the metal and you can see that there's like an erosion hole behind it where the stain was happening.
I was going to say, my guess would be that it might be
a sprinkler spraying.
No, grave desecrators. If there was somebody
maybe
who
if he was a murderer,
a murderer, and in a small place, in a small time, presuming it's got a small population. When we read about it, maybe there was somebody holding a grudge. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't put it past myself to do that. Maybe,
Wow. So anyway,
maybe,
my brother's
say
kid
no more.
was our first TikTok follower, apparently. Thanks, Lily. What up?
Get out of town.
Mm-hmm.
We have TikTok followers?
Apparently we have one. Let me go bask
Wow.
in this.
Wow. Well, anyway, one of the reasons we did that was because, we want to, I've been interested in creating more visual content than audio content. I love podcasts. I love audio content. I still want to, bring a live energy to the episodes, while at the same time trying to maintain the sanctity of the audio listening experience. But at the same time, if we can make some cool visual content,
Yeah.
I think we might be able to, I don't know, just get the podcast out to more people, so that more people can listen. The more people that listen, the more we're going to want to do this.
For reals.
I mean, like I said, it's a labor of love. We do it for fun. And we do it so that we don't have to have a social life on Saturday nights now doing this.
Yeah, now we have a built-in excuse. Hey, you want to go hang out Saturday night? Can't. I have my podcast.
But let me tell you something. My birthday's coming up, and my birthday falls on a Saturday, and we're going to be here.
That's right.
To
2
celebrate.
Saturdays from today.
Share the tears of growing older, and the happiness of remaining in the light of living.
Yeah.
Oh, that
Whatever.
didn't sound good. That
Vince
was
is
lame.
getting dark tonight.
But on a lighter note.
Interesting. So, our Amazon package was just delivered for...
Is that what that was?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sound. I was like, what was that
Yeah,
sound?
I was like, oh, there's a ghost.
Yeah, no, it was our package being delivered that we bought specifically for our new TikTok channel. So make sure you follow us there. And you know what else we can't continue doing the podcast without?
What's that?
Is your stories, friends. You gotta send us your stories. Send us lots of them, because we want to read them.
Do it by going to castleofspirits.com. There's many ways of getting in touch with us there. There's a submit a story button. Do that there, and we'll get your story on the website, and it may be read on the show.
Yep. And follow us on all of the socials to see what new shenanigans we get up to.
Facebook and Instagram at Castle of Spirits. TikTok, not for some reason.
At Ghostkeepers.
Yeah. But hang on dearly.
Yeah.
Because we're going to take you on a ride.
Oh.
And if you like
if you
this,
disappear from the back seat while we're on that ride, bonus points for us.
Hey.
Not because you disappeared, but because that means that you were a ghost.
All right. I like this. I think maybe there are some ghosts that listen to our show.
Maybe.
So until next time, thanks for listening to this show and watching this show on YouTube. And if you like this show, tell a friend.
And you know what? If you hate it, we're going to need you to tell 2 enemies, because guess what? It seems to be working so far.
It does.